Hello, it's Mike over at fishyourassoff.com, and we're doing another one of our series fishing class. And today's topic is going to be how to use a popping cork along with some sort of jig head, set up below it. A lot of times people call it a deadly combo. I've heard a lot of different terms for this technique as far as catching fish, but basically it's a loud cork, popping cork, rattle cork, something like that. Just a noisy bobber that you're going to use, and then a piece of mono or fluorocarbon that goes down to a jig head or some sort of imitation shrimp or fish type lure. It's very good, very effective way to catch trout, especially, but it also will catch your fair share of jacks and ladyfish, and if you really target it and shorten up the leader, coming from your bobber to your lure around oyster bars, it's also very effective at catching redfish. You can also do that up against mangroves too for redfish. So let's go ahead and look at it. All right, here's an actual setup. We're actually going fishing tomorrow using this technique. So here's my noisy bobber. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear that, but that's very attractive to fish for some reason. And then it comes down, and I'm just going to be using an imitation shrimp. So, that's what I'm going to be using tomorrow, but you can use any sort of jig head combo. I've done it with a swimming shad type of bait below there. So basically anything, because it's really about the motion. But if you can get some smell to it too, you're doing great. So like I talked about, this is your target species. Trout is number one. For whatever reason, trout just seem to devour this setup. Don't know why. But redfish is another one. I've caught my fair share of redfish using this technique too. So basically your setup is just like you saw here. You get some sort of cork, but this is a popping cork. They have this concave top, so when you yank it in the water, it goes in the water, puts out all those vibrations, and I guess it sounds like a bait fish or something splashing on top of the water, because it's very attractive to predators. And then you have your leader, however long you're going to make it, which goes to your jig head, and then your imitation. Obviously, if you can get a smelly one, then you put the olfactory system of the fish and get it involved too. So if you have a scented type shrimp bait or shad or minnow, whatever you're using with your jig head, if you get a scented one, that's just one more sense that'll help attract your prey item over there, whatever you're looking for. Typically it's going to be 12 to 24 inches. That's based on water depth. If you're fishing in 2 feet of water, you just want it to be just off of the grass on the bottom. So when you pop it, it might be, maybe just 3 or 4 inches above it. And then if you're going deeper, obviously you're gonna extend this, just to get it down in the water column wherever the fish are. So if you have it short and you're not getting bites, say you're in 5-6 feet of water, well, you want to lengthen that up a little bit and see if you start getting more bites, and vice versa. Maybe it's too deep that you have it set up for, and if that's the case, then you might want to shorten up your leader. So you got all kinds of different bobbers that are out there, and they're all basically the same thing. So you pop this, it makes that popping noise. This one's got all these rattles and glass beads and everything that bump together. So there's a lot of different offerings out there that you'll find. They basically work the same. These have a habit of coming loose though after a while, so I like the ones that are all put together for you, just like this, because this bobber doesn't have a slit in the side that eventually your line's going to come through and your bobber's going to go get lost somewhere on one of your casts, or when you're setting it up against some sort of fish, whatever you're catching. So I prefer these, but these work just fine, and they're a lot easier to set your water depth with, because all you do is pull this thing out and move it up or down, whereas this one you got to retie every time. But I like these a lot better. But that's it as far as this technique. It's very effective. I remember the first time I saw people using this was 20-something years ago on the West Coast, and I thought it was the dumbest thing I'd ever seen. I didn't think anyone, any self-respecting trout would ever bite something like that. And these guys were just catching trout after trout after trout. And here I was, you know, fishing with a live shrimp, and they were out fishing me with an artificial, you know, setup, this setup right here, than I was with live shrimp. So that made me a believer, and I've tried it a few times since, well, quite a few times since. It is an excellent way to target these fish, especially trout. Like I said, you can catch a lot of other things with this technique, but trout especially, for whatever reason, you can really load up on trout using this technique. But I think that's it. I don't really know how much more to tell you about that. Try it at some point though, especially if you're drifting some grass flats. I mean, it's a great technique. You can cover a lot of water. And really the technique is like this. You're gonna pop it, give it a few seconds. I mean, that's what I do. Pop, pop, give it a few seconds, and you're reeling it in the whole time. It really allows you to cover quite a bit of water. So not only are you covering the water column that you like, you're able to cover a vast expanse of water using this technique too. Just do it, pop, pop, reel it in, pop, just like that. Give it a go sometime. I think you'll be very happy with it. You can find more of this information on our website. You know, our website's www.fishyourassoff.com. We have a how-to section, we have a where-to section, a what-to section, we have videos, you know, teach you how to tie all these knots and all these different things, fishing videos. So it's a very good resource if you're just now trying to learn how to fish. It's very saltwater centric. You know, we have some information on bass fishing in there, but very saltwater centric, and for the most part, it's shallow water saltwater, so it's more inshore. There are some offshore type of things in there as well, but mostly it's inshore. So if that's the kind of fishing you like to do, it's going to be a great resource for you. But that's it. You know, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. And until next time, we'll see you. All right. Bye-bye.